Think the world without pandemic. Pandemic that caused by COVID-19 or coronavirus disease. Coronavirus disease affects and killed many lives. Because of pandemic, many people facing different problems. Many store or buildings going closed, and because of that, many workers get out of their works and get stuck of their houses for so long. COVID-19 really destroyed every student lives. Students suffered to continue to study because of the class strategy, like modular class and online classes. Modular class is not easy to every student because it's hard to understand the lesson, and not all students had a guardian to assess and to guide their activities. Online class is also not easy kind of class because not all students have their own gadget. Online class is really hard to participate because of the poor internet connection. Poor connection can make the students stressed and out of their mind to focus to the lessons. But according to the Department of Health, the Philippines is now in alert level 1. And it is really a good news to everyone, especially to our dearest workers, because finally they can work and support the daily needs of their family, especially when it comes to foods. And as a member of this community, I am really hoping that everyone can support the vaccination program by the government so that we can easily back to normal and also for us to be protected from the virus. Being vaccinated can minimize the capacity of spreading the virus. So I am really hoping and praying that all of us can participate the vaccination program of the government.
Pandemic is not a word to use lightly or carelessly. It is a word that is misused, can cause a reasonable fear. No unjustified acceptance that the fight is over, leading to unnecessary suffering and death. Describing the situations as a pandemic does not change whose assessment of the threat posed by this virus. It doesn't change what who is doing, and it doesn't change what countries should do. If the countries detect, test, treat, isolate, trace, and mobilize their people in the response, those with a handful of cases can present those cases becoming cluster, and cluster those becoming community transmissions. As I said, all countries that we are calling on to activate and scale up your emergency response mechanism.
The impact of COVID-19 pandemic crisis just as much as it in a health one is the repercussion service and far-reaching are being felt across the world, from the school closer to devastated industry, and the million of jobs are lost. The social economic costs of the pandemic are many, and varied. The COVID-19 is threatening to widen inequalities everywhere, who undermine the progress on global poverty and the clean energy and more. Almost of the world's students were affected.
Most people who feel sick with COVID-19 will experience mild to moderate symptoms and recover without special treatment. However, some will become seriously and require medical attention. Virus can spread from unaffected person's mouth or nose in small liquid particles when they cough, speak, sing, or breathe. You can be affected by breathing in the virus if you are near someone who has COVID-19, or by touching contaminated surface and then your eyes, nose, or mouth. The virus spread more easily indoors and crowded seating.
The COVID-19 pandemic has led to a dramatic loss of human life worldwide and presents an unprecedented challenge to public health, food systems, and the world of work. The economic and social disruption caused by the pandemic is devastating. Tens of millions of people are at risk of falling into extreme poverty. Millions of enterprises face an existential threat. Nearly half of the world's global workforce are at risk of losing their livelihoods. Without the means to earn an income during lockdowns, many are unable to feed themselves and their families. For most, no income means no food, or at best, less food and less nutritious food. The pandemic has been affecting the entire food system and has laid bare its fragility. This pandemic has decimated jobs and placed millions of livelihoods at risk. With those in low-income countries, particularly the most marginalized populations, which include small-scale farmers and indigenous peoples being hardest hit. So in summary, the COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in severe economic and social impacts around the world. Young people are particularly vulnerable to the disruptions the pandemic has caused, and many are now at risk of being left behind in education, economic opportunities, and health and well-being as well. During a crucial stage of their life development, young people are more likely to be unemployed or to be in precarious job contracts and working arrangements, thus lack adequate social protection. Now is the time for global solidarity and support, especially with the most vulnerable in our societies, particularly in the emerging and developing world. Only together can we overcome the intertwined health and social economic impacts of the pandemic and prevent its escalation into a treacherous humanitarian and food security catastrophe with the potential loss of already achieved development gain. We must rethink the future of our environment and tackle climate change and environmental degradation with ambition and urgency. Only then can we protect the health, livelihoods, food security, and nutrition of all people, and ensure that our new normal is a better one.
Didn't even ask me